Norway is prosperous and peaceful with plenty of destinations to explore. Rolling hills, stunning fjords, nature reserves, and national parks are all around and is a heaven for adventure and relaxation, a home to Europe's stunning natural wonders with activities for everyone. This country is also a great place for work and residence, offering a high standard of living and a good work-life balance. It is a magnet for immigrants and students. Once you obtain a residence permit, you can enjoy free public healthcare and free public education, the same as other Norwegians. If you have completed higher education or have completed vocational training, you can apply for a residence permit as a skilled worker in Norway. You must normally already have received a job offer from a Norwegian employer or have your own business. The job must be relevant to your education and you must meet the other requirements for a residence permit. In this video, you will see a brief explanation on everything you need to know about work and residence permits in Norway. So to get more detail, stay tuned to the video till the end. Everyone's welcome back. My name is Ahmad Reza and here at Persia Global we help those who are in search of better opportunities to work, live or study abroad. This video covers applying for a residence permit as a skilled worker in Norway, educational and qualification requirements, employment requirements, foreign workers' rights and obligations, and finally Norwegian permanent residency and citizenship. Well, first of all, let's find out what are the requirements relating to your education or qualifications. You must have one of the following types of education or qualifications for Norway work permit. A completed vocational training program of at least 3 years at upper secondary school level, for example, as a carpenter or health worker or technician, chef, etc. In this case, there must be a corresponding or the same vocational training program in Norway so that you could get your degree certified by the Norwegian relevant authority. Or you must have a completed educational degree from a university or higher education institution like college, for example, a bachelor's degree as an engineer or nurse. Or you can instead have special qualifications that are those skills acquired through long professional experience, possibly in combination with courses and education. You must have as high competence as someone who has completed vocational education from upper secondary school in Norway. Generally, you must have at least 6 years of work experience to demonstrate these skills. For example, suppose you have work experience as a painter. In this case, you must present detailed work certificates from previous employers that show that you have learned and can do the same as a person with a professional education as a painter. Keep in mind that it takes a lot to get permission in such cases, and typically many applications are rejected. For those of you who are going to work in the IT industry, the requirements for documentation are not as strict. So the process of qualification authorization is easier to proceed for those who have a university or college degree type. However, it is also possible for being qualified as a skilled worker with demonstrating at least 6 years of work experience in the field, corresponding to those who have the same academic education at universities or colleges, that they also need to get their qualifications and or degrees evaluated and recognized by the relevant authorities. To get your qualifications from abroad recognized in Norway, you need to go through a process and pay its fees. Some of the professions, however, are regulated in Norway, which means that you need to get a license to practice them in line with getting them recognized, especially when you want to start your working life in Norway as a self-employed person or to find jobs easier and faster. In that case, you need to have have your degree, qualifications, and work experience qualified, licensed, or regulated. In some cases, your employer does this on your behalf. You can read more about this on the official website of the Norwegian Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, or at www.nokut.no, the Norwegian Agency for Quality Assurance in Education, which is an independent expert body under the Ministry of Education and Research in charge of foreign degree equivalency and recognition. Requirements relating to the employment relationship. You must have received a concrete job offer from one specific employer in Norway. The job must normally be full-time. If you have been offered at least an 80% possession, the Immigration Directorate will accept this. The job you are offered must acquire qualifications as a skilled worker, which means you must have the qualifications that the job requires. The pay and working conditions must not be poorer than what is normal in Norway. If you are to work in an industry in which a collective agreement applies, you must be paid the collective wage rate. If you are going to work in an industry in which no collective agreement applies, your pay cannot be poorer than is normal for someone in your occupation in the place you are going to work. If the position requires a master's degree, your pay must be at least 449,900 Norwegian krona per year pre-tax. They may also permit that you receive a lower salary if you can document that this is normal for your occupation in the place where you are to work. If the position requires a bachelor's degree, your pay must be at least 417,900 Norwegian krona per year pre-tax. They may permit that you receive a lower salary if you can document that this is normal for your occupation in the place where you are to work. There are also some other special requirements you need to consider for your eligibility to get a work permit in Norway, which is now called residence permit for skilled workers. As I explained earlier, if you are going to work in an occupation for which recognition or authorization is required, you must have such recognition or authorization. Please also check the description section of the video for an official link. Health personnel, for example, must include an authorization or license from the Norwegian Directorate of Health with a link below our video. If you are to work through a recruitment agency, you must present a list of the assignments that the employer has planned for you. The assignments must be confirmed by the business or businesses you are carrying out the assignments for. It is only possible for you to get a residence permit for the period of time when you are carrying out the assignments on this list. The staffing or recruitment agency must be registered in the Norwegian Labor Inspection Authorities Register with a link below our video. Being employed in Norway will entitle you to have rights and obligations. The duration of the residence permit you are able to get depends on the possession you have been offered. If the possession requires that you have completed a vocational training program at upper secondary school level, you can get a residence permit for up to 1 year at a time. If the possession requires that you have completed an education or degree from a university or college, you can normally get a residence permit for up to 3 years at a time. If they need to check more frequently that you still fulfill the requirements, for example, because you're going to work through a staffing agency, you will only be able to get a residence permit for up to 1 year at a time. After 3 years, you can apply for a permanent residency permit in Norway. Your family can usually apply to come and live with you in Norway. Fortunately, if your family members apply at the same time as you, you will receive the answer to your applications at the same time. If you are later going to change employers, but work in the same type of position, you don't need to apply for a new residence permit. The pay and working conditions must not be lower to what is normal in Norway, and you still must meet the requirements for your residence permit as a skilled worker with an employer in Norway. If you are later going to start in a new type of position, you must apply for a new residence permit, no matter if you are staying with the same employer or changing employers. You cannot start in a new type of position until you have been given a new residence permit. If you lose your job, you must notify the police where you live within 7 days. You can then stay in Norway for up to 6 months to look for a new job. Your residence permit must still be valid for the duration of this period. If you get a new job but you are going to work in the same type of position as before, you do not need to apply for a new residence permit, but you must notify the police where you live within 7 days after you start the new job. If you get a new job where you are going to have a different type of position than before, you must apply for a new residence permit. You cannot start in the new type of position until you have been given a new residence permit. You are not allowed to work remotely unless it is part of the job you have been granted a residence permit to do. Documentation for Norway work permit is as follows. When you turn up to your appointment with the police or embassy or consulate, you must hand in the following documents and their copies as I explained. You must also present the original documents. If your employer in Norway is going to apply for a residence permit on your behalf with a written authorization from you, it is sufficient that your employer hands in copies of documentation of your education or work experience or your passport instead of originals. If any of your documents are in a different language than Norwegian or English, you must also hand in a translation of the documents into Norwegian or English. There are some personal requirements when you want to apply for a permanent residence that you must comply with. Have stayed in Norway for at least 3 years, more or less continually. Not committed a serious crime while in Norway. Complete 250 hours in Norwegian language online or in classroom courses. Score A1 on the oral language test. It doesn't apply to skilled workers, of course. Complete 50 hours of social studies. Pass the social studies test in whichever language you choose. Generally, to get Norwegian citizenship, you must have lived in Norway 8 of the past 11 years. If you have a residence permit and sufficient income, 6 of the last 10 years is enough. At the time of recording this video, sufficient income is defined as an annual figure of 319,997 Norwegian krona. 5 years of living in Norway in the past 10 years is required if married, partnered, or cohabiting with a Norwegian citizen. In these cases, your combined residence and marriage period must be at least 7 years. Fluency in spoken Norwegian with a B1 grade is non-negotiable. The application process requires some documents in person. Begin by completing the application form on the UDI website. An appointment to present your papers in person will then be given. After becoming a Norwegian citizen, you will be invited to a voluntary citizenship ceremony. Well, we understand that people have different reasons for wanting to leave their homeland, and we have made it our mission to be the go-to source for information and guidance with respect to what the process entails. We work with each potential client to evaluate their options and ensure they understand the legal, cultural, and financial requirements of the process. We take tremendous pride in our ability to customize the experience to ensure each client has the best outcome possible. We also ensure that everyone is aware of the potential risks involved, such as a deportation or being denied entry into a country. Thanks for watching. As always, pin all your hopes always on God. You will never be pinned down by men. Until the next video, Over and out.